Greetings and welcome to Star Trek Discovery Pod, a sometimes funny, trying to be smart podcast covering all things new and classic Trek. No money, no problems. I am your captain, Mariah Gossett. With me on the view screen, we have
And I'm your favorite blue Orion, Paul Sacha.
Orion. Yes, Clyde should be joining us any moment. You just know after trick or treating, sometimes it takes a little bit longer
Happy
to get
Halloween, everyone.
Happy Halloween. Hallows Eve, all of the things, so spooky, so scary. Did you do anything spooky or scary today, Paul?
I went to a friend's house who bought a lot of candy. And I just go, hey, give me some candy.
Hey, give me some candy. Yeah, I went to a friend's house and we ate a lot of candy. I also have just been slowly eating the candy I bought for trick-or-treaters because I only had a total of 3 trick-or-treaters come to my house.
Yeah, and I don't want to be one of those. Maybe I'm already at that age. Like now that I'm 72, going on 73.
Mhm.
Like, did candy used to taste better in the olden days?
Hmm.
Like
I mean, I don't know. I've always enjoyed I always buy good candy though. I'm not that house that gets like the cheap bag of candy.
what is a good candy for
Like
you?
I'm buying Reese's cups. I'm getting Kit Kats, Twix bars.
Yeah.
The Sour Patch Kids bundles. Someone did gift me today at said lunch that I went to. They gave me a bag of C's
Mhm.
candies, the sour bats. Those are pretty good.
Mm. I don't know. I was one of those kids who really enjoyed quantity.
Quantity over quality.
Well, it wouldn't matter. It would just get hoovered up.
Yeah.
So, uh, not
I
and
mean,
now,
I don't think I can really speak much on my taste of candy as a child because I used to really love like Twizzlers, which are essentially just red wax
no,
covered
but
in sugar. And then like do you remember those like the fun dips? It was just
yeah, yeah,
sugar that you would dip a,
yeah,
a sugar stick into to eat said sugar.
yeah, no, yeah. Those were for dummies. I mean, for awesome people who knew exactly how to get the chemical hit that they needed.
Yeah. We used to eat those before swim
That's
meets.
right. It's
I would eat fun
oh,
dip
this flavor.
before.
This is green flavor and blue flavor and purple flavor.
I like green flavor usually. Green apple, I think.
I
Let
love
us
it.
know in the comments. Welcome to Candy Talk, your destination for all things Halloween candy reviews. We'll
The
be going
Substack
down our top 5.
of hot dog talk and
Yes, a spinoff of Hot Dog Talk. But no, tonight we will be recapping and reviewing season 5, episodes 1 through 3 of Star Trek Lower Decks. Before we
or
get
deck.
to that,
Woo!
Lower Decks. Woo! Before we get to that, though, you can subscribe to the podcast on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. All links are at StarTrekPod.co. And an update about the Patreon. So, Patreon has a new deal with Apple. And
Oh,
here's the thing, they don't let us charge per episode anymore. It has to be a flat monthly fee. So, we are just letting you know that there will now be a flat monthly fee to be a patron. I'm working with Patreon to get that transferred because of their new situation with Apple. But I think we're going to just keep it at $2 a month. So it's really cheap if you want to join and hang out with us. Yeah, $2 a month helps us pay for our RSS hosting. It helps us pay for the website. It helps us pay for our Paramount Plus subscription because they don't love to send us screeners on time. So we watch them at the same time as you. So these are all things that go into making a podcast. So again, you can visit patreon.com/StarTrekPod and join us there. And again, for all of our current patrons, that will be shifting over the next month as I work with Patreon to get that set up. But Paul, if people are hanging out with us tonight live on YouTube, how should they like interact with us and stuff?
well, this is where Clyde would say, "Send us a snail mail and blah blah blah,"
A carrier
or
pigeon.
or carrier pigeon, or walk it over to your local post office, or blah blah blah. But no, all you have to do is on our what you chat. I'll read it. If
On
you're
the
watching
chat.
us tonight on YouTube, please participate in the live chat. And if you have a comment or question and you want to address us to address later on the podcast, just type the word P-O-D, capital P-O-D. That spells pod in
Woo.
all before your comment so we can see it.
Indeed.
So
Good
that's the
call.
like I know you couldn't tell, but
You really did it. I believe in you.
I did it. That's right.
You did it. I know. Slowly, my sugar crash is coming down, so we're gonna make it through. Because I'm very excited because I had a great time watching these episodes. Okay. Before we get to some messages from the menagerie, which if you are a Patreon member, you get to join us over on Slack, and we have a special channel where you can tell us your hot take of the episode that we're reviewing for the week, and we will read it here on the pod. But before we get to those messages from the menage, I think it is time for us to do a classic hot breaks. It's been so long. It's time for some hot breaks. Paul.
Breaks.
So we are going to be talking about 1 through 3 tonight. We're probably going to bounce around a little bit because I feel like they all sort of interweave. So spoilers ahead if you have not watched 1 through 3. I'm going to combine my hot break. So I thought I'd let you combine yours as well, Paul. Your hot break.
I thought it was a good start. A very good start. I like the first episode the best probably, but I like because it set up like what's going to happen this this semester.
This semester.
Very clearly, and
Mhm.
it tracks visually throughout the first 3 episodes, and I thought that was pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
I was happy that we spent a lot of time with Tendi, but you knew that she had to get back. She gets back to the
The main crew.
Cerritos. So but I thought I thought it was good. I thought it was good. That's good. So far so good.
Yeah, I think like most Lower Deck season, it's starting out really strong. That premiere was really great, and then I think the other 2 episodes were strong in their different ways. I liked that 3. I thought was a little bit more comedy focused, and I like that because this is a final season. They seem to be trying to make sure we're wrapping up some storylines. So
Yep.
I'm glad we got like the Jennifer situation wrapped up. I feel like T'Lyn is really folding in well. I have some fun things I want to talk about in that episode with T'Lyn in episode 2.
It should be like Mariah's arm is her Borg implant. She's like,
I am slowly becoming the Rutherford. So do not worry. I just have carpal tunnel. I work on a computer too much. Seemingly, they're TBD. It's either tennis elbow or carpal tunnel. They don't know yet, but I am fine. I appreciate the acknowledgement of the brace that I'm wearing on my wrist. Yeah. All right. Let's get into some messages from the menagerie while we're waiting for Clyde to make his appearance. Okay. We have from Ms. They say, Lower Decks on episode 2. So much love about the show. Favorite parts were the end of capitalism. So many jokes, bangers everywhere. And I appreciate our crew continuing to grow up and grow into leadership roles. One tiny criticism is that I wish we'd seen Rutherford and T'Lyn actually bond. I wish we'd seen Rutherford be okay with having friends who aren't Tendi, just my hot freak. We can talk about that. I think that's a good thing to bring up and discuss. Karen says, just a couple of favorite things, some really great eps 1 and 2. I love T'Lyn trying to help Rutherford. Then she added her own little drawing to the shuttle to the gang. I love the relationship they developed between Devana and Erica. It's such a great sister vibe. Every line, great line. Everybody up, Starfleet. Here finally has a plan. The house robots with weapons strapped on are so funny. And in addition to Boy Me Up, we now have Bointers. Do you want to read the next one?
King says, Dos Cerritos is my favorite episode of the first 3. Me too. He didn't say that. I said, I couldn't stop laughing at Captain Assistant Naomi Wildman beating out Boimler for 30 under 30 Starfleet Starfleet. Oh, what's happening? Oh, sugar coma. Sugar stroke. Oh, shoot. Candy stroke. I'm curious how the storyline will play out from Boimler getting a hold of the parallel Boimler's pad. I'm glad they quickly wrapped up the Tendi off the ship storyline. Boom. Agreed.
Boom. Whoa. Clyde has beamed in.
Clyde.
What's up, Clyde?
Clyde has finally beamed down.
I'm here.
Copyright.
Feel like it's been forever.
It has been a hot minute. We were just reading some messages from the Menage, so that's a perfect time for you to give us your hot take of these first 3 episodes, Clyde.
You know, I enjoyed them. I'm specifically glad that Tendy's back on the ship. Though it was very cool seeing Orions do Orion stuff. But yeah, no, this is I'm immediately watching the first 3 and thinking, I can't believe this is the final season. It's not fair.
Yeah. Agreed. I'm excited, but I think they're doing a good job. It feels like they knew it was a final season, which I think is nice for creators to know when they go into making something.
Yeah.
What a concept. Okay, let's start with episode 1, Dos Cerritos, which was directed by Megan Lloyd, written by Aaron Burdett. Very exciting. We encounter our parallel universe, which I thought was such a fun, like almost our Mirrorverse episode in a way, but not evil-ish, but evil-ish.
I wonder if they could have made a different pun with Dos Cerritos, like like Dos Equis, like Dos Ritos.
Dos Ritos. Now I just want a T-shirt though that says Dos Ritos. That would be pretty hilarious. What did you think of Becky Freeman v. Beckett Mariner?
You know, it's like if you ever wanted to know what would Mariner be like as a straight-laced, almost Lorca-esque character.
Very Lorca-esque.
Very Lorca-esque. And I didn't care for it. Like, I like our shoot from the hip rebel Mariner much better. So it's kind of like, if you want to know what would happen if Mariner was true by the book Starfleet, it would suck.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sounds like you don't support women, Clyde. Is that true?
Oh my goodness.
It just seems like, like here is this woman trying to make it in her parallel world, and then all of a sudden she goes like, oh, you know what? They're not I don't like them. I don't like them. I don't know.
I fully support the other woman. I just don't like. You're asking me to choose between 2 women. I like one more than I like the other.
No,
I do like Kyun's point of like, why would anyone in a parallel universe think they're not the Prime universe?
That was fun. A great note. They were like, we're the Prime. I was like, that is true.
Yeah, why wouldn't you think you're the Prime?
I actually think I really like the episode. It's my favorite episode of the 3.
Mm-hmm.
I think for all of it, I think the Becky character is probably the one where I go like, I feel like this is more than 0.465% off. I feel like this is like everyone else. Like you go like, oh, if I
but
just made
it like an overcorrection,
Yeah, like it just feels like everyone else was just a little bit different. Like you see Bill Upton, you go like, oh,
yeah,
he had sex and he had to be the king. Boimler just did these few little things that led a different path. You could see like Rutherford taking things too far. Like a lot of things could happen, but like, is there a point where you see our Mariner like rule with fear? Is that right. Something like that seems a little off. I think it's funny that Mom is in Starbase 80 because like she's always on the edge of like going like, oh, she's a good captain. Oh no, she's not. But like,
well, think about it this way, Paul. Remember, I think it was between seasons 2 and 3, maybe, where Mariner went crazy trying to save her mom.
Yeah, I do.
It makes me wonder, like, because they kept going, well, our Captain Freeman wasn't around. Like, what happens in a situation where Starfleet doesn't intervene to save Captain Freeman, and she actually does end up at Starbase 80? Like, what would that do to Mariner? Like that one thing? Maybe that's what we're seeing in Becky Freeman.
Maybe like it just seems like it is not a far. It's not a far parallel dimension to take the lovable person who I am, that you guys love, to be even more of a dick. Like, I think that's really, but it would be really hard for it to be 0.465 and have Clyde be, tyrannical Clyde. I think that's a bigger, for me, like, I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm just saying, like, I think it's more than less than 0.5%.
I do think
at any given moment, I'm like 0.475% away from being tyrannical Clyde on any given day, especially in LA traffic.
Great. Now I know.
That's
now
the
I know.
trigger point.
It's the LA traffic, yeah.
Yeah. I do think we're going to eventually see what the other Boimler is doing wrong. Do you know what I mean? I was like, I think the other Boimler is going to have some terrible thing about
Why do you
him.
hate men?
Because men. I don't think I have to justify myself.
No, you did. The word itself is
the word itself. But I think it'll be funny to see how that like comes out. I also do like the slow progression of the facial hair. I think is so funny.
Well,
it's so terrible though.
It's so bad and so funny.
But here's something, and maybe Clyde will jump in here a little bit. Like, there's an episode of Stargate Atlantis. Yes, Stargate Atlantis. Where they have Rodney McKay from an alternate. Yeah, just calm down, Clyde. Rodney McKay from an alternate universe, and Rodney McKay is like so awesome. He is, and you know what was wrong with him? Nothing. He was just awesome.
I mean, maybe he'll just be awesome, but I feel like we're getting set up for like
Raya, trust meth.
He's gonna find a bad piece of advice in that pad. It's coming. I know it's coming.
I think it sets up for that. I don't think it needs to happen. I just think like there's some point where Boimler like you got to be yourself. You are you. You don't have to. This is not who you are. Like blah blah blah. I don't know. Anyway.
Going over to the Tendi storyline, I really like how much Orion lore we're getting. I also think it's hilarious that they brought back the blue Orions.
Yeah.
From the animated series. I was going to say, did you catch all of the Easter eggs that are in the credits?
That have
been added to the credits?
Oh yes, like the hand, and then the V'ger and the Tholian web. Like it's a.
I also don't know if you caught, but so the titles when it says Lower Decks now has the splash of blue behind it to match the 5th season of Next Gen.
Oh, I love it! I did not notice that. Oh
no, I think I got distracted when I was watching our preview streamers, and it had your name across the intro. You haven't seen that, Mariah?
Oh,
what?
On our streamers
for privacy stuff. Yeah, it's just Mariah.
I actually rewinded twice. Like, what just happened here?
Yeah, it's so that you don't pirate it, or if you do pirate it, they know who to blame.
I know, but it was so. I felt like I was watching it with you, so it was kind of nice.
Nice.
No, I haven't. I didn't pick up on all the Easter eggs, but to your point, I did like a lot of the Orion lore. Right? I think that's one thing I really do appreciate about Lower Decks is that you have this race in the Orions that we know so little about. And Lower Decks has said, hey, we're going to expand this and we're going to let you know much more. And like family and
setups. And then they're like, oh, this was a medical ship. And they're like, we didn't have medical ships. And they're like, but we did. We used to have this technology because of like this plague and like all of these things. And I was like, oh, it's so cool. I was like, this makes me want even more for there to be that weird Klingon Game of Thrones style show where maybe the Orions also you know what I mean? I need some family drama. Or an Orion Game of Thrones show would also be incredible, even just based on what they've put together.
It's definitely an HBO show and not a Paramount Plus show based on what we know about Orions.
Yeah, and it would be dope.
It'd
be hot.
Speaking of which, in Shades of Green, I don't know if y'all caught. So moving into Shades of Green, which was directed by Bob Suarez and written by Keith Vogelsong, that crazy bird that's in like the head ladies, like
the Bat Vulture.
The Bat Vulture, that screech is Mike McMahon.
Love it.
And apparently it was just like a scratch track from when they were putting stuff together, and then they just like left it in.
Love it.
I'm with Choopy, who says I could seriously watch just
Mistress of the Winter Soldier. I could watch all of it.
I would. I'd be in.
Blizzard.
I'm for it. Yep.
But yes, we have the Pirate Queen, who's essentially like, you must have a Fast and the Furious style race through space with sails, just like in Prodigy. But
You know what?
I enjoyed it.
But it worked for me. Like
It did.
was.
I thought it was fun.
I thought that episode, that particular part, was like, I felt like it did Tendi a disservice.
The way she was overprotective of her sister.
Yeah, like it wasn't as grounded as I would like. Like they're, and I know that sounds really weird to talk about animated comedy and go, well, you know, my favorite character isn't as grounded. You know, like calm down, Paul. Yes, calm down.
But I agree, because she is a medical science officer, and it's like I feel like it was. I mean, to me, it actually told me a lot about how Tendi sees her sister emotionally, and how she is so like attached to their relationship, and that it has been strained in the past, and it probably put some stress upon how she was reacting in that situation. Because I'm like, Tendi, you're a medical officer, you know what like can and cannot be done. Like pregnant people can do almost all things for the most part, right? Like I'm not as familiar with Orion pregnancy, so not as you're really being, you know, this is not, you're not listening. I'm not listening. But I appreciated the way Erica like really responded to that and was just like, I can make my own decisions. And I'm like, hell yeah, you can. Hell yeah, you can make all your own decisions.
And I think she, you know, Erica was kind of like, look, like I'm doing this for you. Like you don't even see the whole picture here.
Right. Like you don't see that I'm trying to make you happy so you can go do these things, you know. But yeah, and then I thought it was fun. We have like Boimler and Mariner on this post-scarcity planet, and then they accidentally lose their ensigns, and it's such a like I just thought it was like a fun growing pain of like learning to be a leader, and you're just like, oh no, what have I done? I gave them too much space, and now they've been kidnapped, and now we must find them, and oh no, they're dead. But then it was like, oh, but they actually listened to what you had to say, and they were okay all along.
Yeah, the post-scarcity planet was I thought it was hilarious. I mean,
the jokes are great.
The jokes are great, and that goes back to core Starfleet, that we've become more than this, right? Like we're not, especially, you know, when I have to put gas in my car in LA and I'm dreaming of a post-scarcity planet, right?
You're not going to be like the Bezos type characters that were on this planet who are like, no, let us have money.
I mean, no, I mean, if like give me a replicator and I'm good.
Yeah, I liked when they were like, I must commandeer your you know, jet rocket thing, and they're like, that's okay, I'll go replicate a new one.
Man, I was like, if only, right? Like it literally made me think for a moment. Like if you think about Star Trek tech, right? And you go, oh, what Star Trek tech could you have? Most people, the first thing they say is a transporter, right? I'm thinking, but if you had to choose between a transporter or a replicator, is the replicator the better option?
I mean,
probably in like the long run, but a transporter sounds so much more fun.
So cool.
See, I think that without an appropriate power source, neither of them will do you very good.
It's true. We've got to start finding dilithium, guys. Yeah. What are we doing?
But I always ask this of people. I go, and I do ask this question often. I might have asked it on the podcast before, so for those who have heard, I apologize. I ask people, what would you rather have? The ability to teleport or infinite money?
Infinite money.
Yeah.
Because not everyone says that. In fact, most people don't say that. Most people say
teleport because then I can teleport in the bank and take money.
And that's where you fall into a Paul verbal trap.
I think I only know to say infinite money because you've asked me this question before, and I'm pretty sure I said teleport, and then you're like, so you're a thief.
I go like, well, what are you gonna do for money? He goes, well, I go in the bank and just take whatever I want. And I go, oh, so like when you have power, you will just, the laws of men don't apply to you. And then they go, no, backtrack. I've shown too much. And I'm like, okay, well, but it speaks to your post scarcity thing.
Yeah.
Like, it comes down like infinite money, like, is it can be it could be a disruptive thing, I suppose, if you use it poorly.
Right. But the idea in this case is that everyone has infinite money.
Yep, that's right.
Like that's a nice idea.
Like as I get older though, I go, I don't know if that would help. Like, imagine everyone got everything material they needed. Then what? People walking around with a lot of baggage.
And then I think we'd actually have
literally.
I think then there would be like a renaissance of art at that point. Because
I don't know. I feel like people like would rather die in some cases than change. I have this. I on occasion will give script notes to people, and I went through. I just gave some script notes not too long ago, and I'm causing this complete meltdown of this writing team because they're I've triggered them or one of them particularly as far as how they perceive writing, and rather than change and do something very simple, they just justify. Anyway, it's suffice to say that people are complicated.
People are complicated.
I think the idea of people not having to focus so much on just trying to get a paycheck, like what would the world look like if now everyone is doing the job that they want to do?
100%. Like I imagine people, you take away all the what you call it, all the stuff that you don't want to do, and now you just do only the things you want to do.
Well, it's interesting, even in this post-scarcity society, prior to them becoming post-scarcity, these really rich people just had robots that did all the things they didn't want to do.
But that's an exercise of power, right?
Right.
Which
did y'all notice they look like the house robots from Caprica?
I did actually. Yes. Yes.
Love it.
I was like, why do these look so familiar? I was like, they kind of look like vases, but
there was something else that had a Battlestar Galactica tone to it. I can't remember, but I was watching. I was like, man, this is a BSG feel. Yeah.
I thought they looked like perfume bottles that
they do kind of look like perfume bottles. Yeah.
Anyway, it's just to say that I think there are a lot of people who if I were to say, hey, those rich trust fund babies, are they the healthiest people? And they live in a post-scarcity world, effectively.
That's
if
true.
there's anyone on listening to us, who's a trust fund baby, please consider supporting us for just $20,000 a month. to
0.00000. Just let us know. Just let us know. We can get that big transfer. But I wanted to go back to someone mentioned in one of the messages to the menagerie about T'Lyn and Rutherford in this episode, and about how they wished T'Lyn and Rutherford actually developed friendship. And I think that they did by the end. I think it was just hard for Rutherford to make room in his heart for another friend that was not Tendi, in a way that didn't feel like he was replacing Tendi, but rather making room for another friend. Does that make sense?
I hear what you're saying. I feel that Rutherford only has one USB slot for a bestie, and it'll always be
for a best friend. Yeah. But I thought they bonded in a cute way.
I think I would love to see T'Lyn and Rutherford actually work on the ship a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I was hoping that we see that, but I think it's even. I don't even know that I think that he only has room for one friend. I think
not for one bestie. He has
one
room for-
bestie. Like, I think more than that, Rutherford needs to deal with the fact that this feelings that he has is not best friend feelings, right? Like these two, she like even when Tindy came back, she came and jumped on. I'm like, I got a lot of homies. I ain't got any that are gonna jump on me like that. I'm just saying. I think if he,
I'm so sad for you, Clyde.
I know, it's easy to be sad for me, but I think if he would address the fact that his feelings for Tindy are more than just friendship, that he'd find that he has more rooms for closer friendships.
Yeah.
I like that what you just said. I don't want them to end up together. I don't think they would make a good couple.
I think because here's my thing. I think they are like platonic romantic partners, which I will explain. I don't know if it's as like
please do.
I will. So I don't know if it's as prevalent. So I will say I have a lot of friends within specifically my queer circle of friends. Like I would jump up on them, and that would be like a not weird thing for us to do to each other. And I have other friends who are like BFFs on that level. And I will say it's usually because they tried to be romantic partners and then realized that they're just better as friends. And then it's like that's how their friendship is. But because they had that closeness at one point, it's just like easier. Like the physicality of their friendship is like those hugs. It is jumping on each other. It's cuddling. It's holding hands. It's like a very different set of like.
Well, I guess if Tindy
Friendship
were
laws.
Rutherford's like biological sibling, would you go like, oh, I hope they hook up. I hope they hook up.
No.
Or do you go like, no?
No, that I don't even know where you went.
Yeah, where are you going, Paul?
Well,
I'm looking at Mariah and go, I think I'm doing friendship wrong.
Well, I think there's a spectrum of friendship because they're like, I think it's about what everyone's like boundaries are like. There's plenty of friends I don't do that with, but like I have friends we would cuddle on the couch and watch a movie together. And it's because we know, I mean, it also helps that neither one of us are attracted to that other person's gender presentation, but it's like, what I mean? So there's that part of it as well.
Like, I think like it's possible to have a best friend who is of the opposite sex and both of you are straight and go like, okay, and I can recognize that you are attractive, but we are not.
Right.
I was with you, Paul, until you said I recognize that you're attractive.
Well, like I think I have friends who are attractive. I have, and they are dear to me, and I love them. Blah blah blah. But in my brain, I'm married. I'm committed. And you just don't like. It'd be like going like, oh, this person is my sister, and oh, she's hot, therefore I'm attracted to her. Or you don't do that, right? Or I don't think you do that. like I don't do that. Nope. So it's like, can you have a loving, deep relationship with a person of the opposite sex? And we do it all the time in the straight community, like with our siblings, right? Don't we?
Yes, with my siblings. Yes.
So if Tindy and Rutherford were siblings, would they act the same way and they really liked each other? Would they act the same way on the show?
That feels different though.
Yes, yeah, I mean, I'll see. I'm interested to see which direction the writers take it in. I think either way, I feel like the romantic relationship is the predictable. I do think there is also something to like neither one of these people might be interested in like romantic relationships in that way.
Yeah, like I look at them and I go like, oh, I don't think they look good together on paper because they are just too similar. I can't imagine them in a relationship. Whereas I met with West Jennifer and Mariner, I get it. Mm-hmm. It wasn't going to work out, but I go, oh, I see why they were together. And I can see why they would think that they could work.
Okay. Anyway, so you're both on the record of saying you're hoping that they stay friends and not any more than that.
I am. But like, did you ever watch 30 Rock?
I'm kind of fine either way. Does it feel like a Jack and Lemon situation?
Well, did you ever go like, oh, Liz needs to get together with Jack.
Nope,
No.
never.
Never, right? They were
Never.
great friends. Like.
Yeah, but that had a mentor-mentee kind of feel to it. So if they gotten together, I'd feel weird about that. They never struck me as peers, right, or equals.
Okay.
That's the different thing. Look, I'm a rom-com guy, so
Yeah,
ultimately, like, I like a meet cute.
Yeah.
Me too.
And when I look at this, I go, well, where's the meet cute? It's not, Boimler and Mariner for me. It is clearly like I see Tendi, and we say, for an animated character, Tendi's hot. You I kind of want to see it. I'm in the Tenderford
camp.
Tenderford camp. Yeah, I'm in camp Tenderford.
I was like, yeah, you don't have to do a hear me out cake about Tendi. We get it.
Yeah, like if I were to put a couple together, I think it would Boimler and Tendi. That's
Boimler and Tendi.
Yeah, because they're different enough. Like you would see them complement each other.
Here's my wild pitch.
Okay, here we go. Wild pitch. Everyone.
Tendi and T'Lyn.
Tendi and T'Lyn. Oh, that's interesting.
I could see it.
Interesting.
That's actually, I could see it. That's got a fire and ice opposite kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know. I think Tendi would get onto Lynn's nerves,
but in that like adorable way.
Yeah, and growth way. Yeah.
I think ultimately for me, like, and this is just me how I see relationship. First of all, we're talking about relationship talk, but it is Star Trek adjacent, everyone. So like,
hey. Just be happy to know what it's mentioned the word hot dog yet.
Oh, you missed Candy Chat at the top of that.
The substack of hot dog. But I feel like T'Lyn needs to adore someone to be and I don't think she adores anyone. I think she just finds everyone fascinating.
Although she's really into what's his name, the guy who plays
exactly. I think she and the Rock dude.
The Rock dude.
Yeah, and I go like, oh, I can see that. I could see that
when happening. He's like, oh, I appreciate your ways. I study Vulcan meditation.
You talk about like Ponfar heat. That's like, oh, that's like. I'm all about people getting together. It's just like when I'm looking at the matches, I'm going like, oh, like oh, he plays the harmonic tubes or space tubes or whatever. Yeah, like anyway, that's neither here nor there.
I did like The Best Exotic Nanite Hotel, also funny name, directed by Brandon Williams, written by Stephanie Amante Ritter, excuse me. That was like the funniest. Like, do y'all have that friend who's like too passive aggressive to ever break up with someone and is like, I'm just gonna stop talking to them forever? Like
just the
I have had friends,
yeah, it was, I don't know. I found the whole storyline very funny. The like right before they go down, like, are you so excited, babe? Like, and I feel like we were all like, oh yeah, what happened? Did they ever break up? What happened with this relationship? And I thought that was such a funny way to like bring that back around. And then also like being the canary for Boimler as our B plot was also hilarious to watch Boimler mess up in all of the most endearing ways possible.
I thought it was hilarious that you had this disgruntled admiral, because I was like, if you think about Star Trek is supposed to be a science federation, right? They're supposed to explore. And so, yeah, you have people who are going to have jobs that are really, really boring. And so having this captain is like, all I have to do is milk cows. Like, I'm really frustrated by that. Milk whales. I was like, oh my goodness, yes, that is kind of hilarious. And yeah, he'd be like, I'm not going back. I could see it. So that tickled me.
But yeah, I did like the repetition of all the mistakes that Boimler made, from being like, they view eating in front of each other more intimate than anything else. And then like, why are you holding on to my genitals? Why are your genitals on your back? Where else would they be?
Yeah, that's hilarious.
I enjoyed all the misadventures of Boimler on this episode, and then just Billups and Ransom being like, no, we brought you because we actually believe in you, you slippery little
and
Weasley
you're wiry.
Guy. And you're wiry. You always need a wiry guy.
Right.
Guy. And then poor Jet, just losing hands left and right.
Man.
I don't know. Never liked Jet.
Not a huge fan of Jet. Like, so I'm good with it. I was like, oh, Jet.
I wanted to pose the question. So I feel like between episode 1 and 3, I definitely think the the portal, the what are they called? The rifts, the temporal rifts, I think are going to be our main plot mystery of the season is what it's feeling like, since we got the tiny little ship in this last episode. And so my fun pitch is
Mariah
fun pitch
yep.
is, do you think we're gonna get a live action episode so that we can see everybody?
Oh, I love it. Or maybe someone from the other shows coming into the animated.
Yeah.
Like, I hope so.
I think that could be fun. The other thing that could happen is our crew gets tossed into one that lands them at the academy.
Ooh.
Oh, that'd be crazy.
These are my wild pitches.
Love it.
What do y'all think? What are some fun theories you might have about our temporal rift plotline this season?
I think, who would I want to see? Like, I think I would like to see Discovery on. Although it seems like
just Michelle Yeoh popping up would be so fun.
So that's where I was going. I was going with Michelle Yeoh. I'd love to see Emperor Giorgio. And then I was like, this is the one case where I'm going to say it. I'd be okay with the return of Lorca.
This is the one case where
this is how we get the return of Lorca.
I love it. I love it.
This
Clyde
is the one case, yes.
There you go, Nicole.
Nicole's gotten it.
I saw it.
It has its own peanut hamper. Good job, Nicole.
I think
would it be a nice peanut hamper or an evil peanut hamper?
Wait. Is there an evil peanut hamper?
I mean,
I think pretty canonically, she's pretty evil. Yeah.
Oh, you guys really just see.
Did you see the good Badgie was helping T'Lyn with the deconstruction of the shuttle?
It freaked me out. I was like, "Whoa, Badgie! Like, where are we going with this?"
I actually didn't see that. I missed that.
Yeah, it's really subtle. He's just there being like, oh, "I've been helping."
Yeah, he's. It's not even like he's poking out of the back of the ship.
Oh,
so when Rutherford walks in and the ship is in a bunch of pieces, the good Badgie is poking out am I in trouble?
That's interesting. Okay. Yeah, I didn't even see that. I right now, as I understand the way they've shown it, it's not temporal. It's just parallel universe. So I don't know if we can go to Burnham time, past or future, or even so it would be next gen if they make it consistent like that.
Is this how they're going to put Jean-Luc in yet another Star Trek series?
Oh, I think that'd be hilarious.
Please don't.
But they could see him now though, right?
Yeah, but what if it's I also think a John Delancey pop-up would be fun. I know we've had him before, but it could be, make room for him in a fun way.
Ooh, a Guinan.
Ooh. That could also be fun.
Yeah. No. Actually, there's some thought to that, Clyde, where Gaian species are pretty temporal aware. So I wonder
maybe she helps him solve it.
Well, in that way of in yesterday's Enterprise, the Enterprise C comes to what do you call it, to Picard's time, and it changes all the the Klingons and the Federation at war, and Tasha Yar comes back, but in that world there, Gaian knows that they're in the wrong verse
timeline. Yeah.
So I think Clyde might be onto something if we have a Gaian in there.
Here's another weird take.
Clyde take.
What if we got Prodigy in Lower Decks?
Prodigy could work out because of Janeway. Yeah, no.
That could be fun. I'm into all of these things. I think crossovers are fun. I think more things should do crossovers. I'm excited for I know it hasn't aired yet, but the Abbott Elementary crossover that they're doing with It's Always
With
Sunny.
Star Trek?
I wish. No,
it's with us.
Can I tell y'all the crossover that was the most disappointing thing to me in all of humanity?
Reese's Peanut Butter Cup?
No, RuPaul's Drag Race Global All Stars did a runway category called Queens in Space, and it was a promotional thing that they did with Paramount Plus because Drag Race Global All Stars was playing on Paramount Plus. And it was Star Trek themed. It was in promotion for Star Trek Discovery, the last season of it, which it felt like a weird way after too late promo, but whatever. They would have the queens do the little, like, they did transporters between things as like their special effect. And then none of the outfits actually referenced Star Trek. None of them. And I was like, let me tell you, there are drag queens specifically from the Drag Race franchise that do Star Trek drag incredibly well. Pandora Box, Jackie Cox, Jada Essence Hall has done a Guinan runway for just a color. Like the theme was purple and she did a Guinan runway and it was incredible. And I was really sad about it, because they all just did really generic space outfits and none of them had anything to do with Star Trek. And I understand they were probably just given the blank thing that just said Queens in Space, but the fact that none of them went to Star Trek and they didn't give them anything to help with that, it made me really angry. Okay, my rant is over.
That sounds to me like you wanted all of them to just sashay away.
I was ready for them all to sashay away. Honestly, Global All Stars was a hot mess. It was a hot mess. If you want to talk to me about Drag Race, I'm here for it.
We have a new Substack called
Drag Queens in Space.
Runway Track.
Runway Track.
Drag Track. No, Drag Track.
Drag Track. Here we go. Let's get ready. I will say the UK season, though, this season, it's been good. UK season is good. Anyway, that has been Mariah's Drag Race Corner.
If you are listening to us for the first time, don't be surprised. We are the Star Trek podcast that talks about a lot of stuff non-Trek. Just who we are.
Just who we are. We got to go on a tangent. Everything is connected.
They're all timelines, baby.
It's all
and I'm talking about another Paramount Plus piece of property. So, just saying.
I mean, I'm sure they would appreciate that.
Well, you want to plug. Like, do you believe that Kathy Bates playing Matlock watches Star Trek? I'm just kidding. But like,
that's an interesting thing to ponder. I haven't watched the new Matlock yet, but I've heard it's fun.
It is.
It is. The pilot was. I've only seen the pilot. It is. It's good. It's actually good. It's
I've seen 3 episodes, and I feel like it's the cleanest procedural I've seen in a long time. Where it just is exactly what it's like. You make a burger, but then you just make like, this is just what a burger is supposed to be.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. Like, it's not, it doesn't try to swing too hard. It
came straight out of the Replicator.
It's mediocre plus. And sometimes mediocre, like McDonald's is mediocre plus, and McDonald's makes $1 billion a lot.
But now they have E. coli.
So I would say this. I feel like CBS has long had a formula for their shows that makes me want to watch a few episodes, but can't hang in for season after season. And then Paramount Plus has a different formula altogether that seems a little bit more interesting. The new Matlock feels more like a Paramount Plus when I was expecting a CBS show.
Interesting.
Like, I feel like right now, is USA still a thing? Is that a channel?
I
that
don't
died?
think so. It's
I
dead,
don't
I
I feel like
think
Paramount
so.
Plus feels a little bit more like a Jazzy or USA. And USA had a lot of stuff, man. It had a lot of hits.
Suits.
Burn Notice, Suits. It came to play.
Yeah, but that stuff felt more like a younger CBS to me. Like it had a formula, and
then the
those things
youngest
were going to
of
run
CBS was like WB, UPN, like where you had your Dawson's Creek.
Yes.
And I don't want to wait for my life to be over.
I don't want to wait. Anyway.
Yeah.
We are
we
really
could also
copywriting.
we're gonna get flagged
Watch out.
immediately.
YouTube's gonna take us down.
YouTube's gonna take us down. Okay, so the first 3 episodes, super fun ride. I'm excited for the journey to continue. Anything else to say about these first 3 eps of Lower Decks?
I think I don't think any of the 3 episodes was a home run yet. I think they were very good doubles and singles. Shout out Dodgers for winning the World Series.
That's backwards, but that's okay.
But I do think, like, everything doesn't need to be a grand slam.
No, you got to build, especially I think for a final season. I want that grand slam last episode. Yeah.
Same.
So right now, like, I really appreciate the first one because it sets up a pretty good series. Boo Paul. Boo Paul. There's so many things you could be booing.
I think it's the baseball. I think it's the baseball.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just saying, like, the Dodgers won. I don't really care about baseball. Like, in fact, every time I was at my friend's house today, and there are a lot of parents with Dodger paraphernalia walking their kids, and every time they'd ring the doorbell for candy, I'd yell, "Go Yankees!"
Terrible.
I will say though, the last time the Dodgers won in an election year, Donald Trump lost. So let's cross our fingers, shall we?
So I'll say this, Mariah. Because we have the screeners and we have access to more shows than available. Part of the litmus test that I do is, how do I feel, right? So one of the things that we know is, because I almost slipped once. I didn't slip, but I almost slipped. I'm pretty reluctant to watch ahead.
Yeah.
Right. And so what usually is going to happen is I'm going to wait till after our show, and then I'm going to watch it. But I'm going to watch the next one. Right. So I'm always looking to go, well, how do I feel after I've seen the episode? So when I finished episode 3, what I was looking to try and figure out is, am I tempted to want to see episode 4? Like, am I going, oh man, I want to watch more, right?
I feel you. I feel you.
And so where I was at was, I was kind of in the middle. I was like, I wouldn't mind watching episode 4, but I'm okay to wait.
Yeah, right. I could see that. I will say I'm pretty. There's a lot of good TV on right now. That's the other thing.
There is.
I was like, I got What We Do in the Shadows. Probably. I got Agatha All Along. I had to finish. So
Agatha. There's a new Lincoln Lawyer out. The Old Man. I accidentally got caught up on Shrinking, which annoyed me when I realized that I got to wait another week for that. There's a bunch of stuff I'm watching now.
Yeah, it's good. Well, that has been
going down the Witch's Road, guys.
That's our Witch's Road. That's it. Down we go. And we will be back next week to talk episode 4 of Lower Decks. Let us know what y'all think. And we'll see y'all next time.
And remember, everyone, like, for just $20,000 a month, you too can support our Patreon.
You too. And don't forget to vote, everyone. Early voting is still happening here in Texas. So make sure you check your polls, get out the vote, do it to it. I'm going tomorrow. I made my plan. It's in my calendar. Until then, live long and prosper, everybody.
I voted on Sunday. Get your early voting in. Let's do it.
Bye.